your finger down if you've ever experienced burnout. I'm putting all 5 down. We'll be living faithfully. Oh, by the grace of God, by the grace of God. See, one of the quietest causes of burnout is living faithfully, but not honestly. Mhm. You can love God deeply, you can rely on God deeply, trust God deeply, serve sincerely, and do all you need to do. But you still feel emotionally exhausted. You still get exhausted. You still get stressed out. And it's not because your faith is weak. It's not because something in your life is missing. It's just because something in your life is misaligned. Yeah, something is just misaligned, right? Many people confuse faith with self-erasure. They believe that questioning exhaustion means a lack of gratitude for the things that you have. That naming dissatisfaction means rebellion. That slowing down means disobedience. So instead of adjusting structure, they silence themselves. Why is this unsustainable? It is very unsustainable. Why? Faith was not meant to override truth. Anything that requires you to lie about your capacity will eventually collapse. Burnout is not always from doing too much. Sometimes it's from doing the wrong things for too long. It's from doing everything else for too long without paying attention to the inside, without permission to stop. Even Christians, even churchgoers, even religious people need to pause, question, recalibrate. Right? It doesn't mean that you're not gung spiritually. When people burn out, instead of slowing down, instead of adjusting structure, they silence themselves. But this silencing is not sustainable. We're not meant, yes, man must not live by bread alone, but we're not meant to live by faith alone. Anything that requires you to lie about your capacity, you say, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Whoa, that common sense. Anything that makes you to lie about your capacity will eventually collapse. Man was not meant to work against himself. Burnout is not always from doing too much. Sometimes it's from doing the wrong things for too long without permission to stop. You don't give yourself permission to stop. Even as people of faith, we should learn from people like people in the Bible, like Jesus. He withdrew. Elijah, he rested. David, Jacob, all of those times spent with God. It was a method. The practical reality is, if your faith expression leaves you resentful, numb, or chronically depleted, that is not holiness. That's the signal. Faith should deepen life, not flatten it. You should be deeper lifed. Ask yourself this gently. What am I calling obedience? That is actually avoidance of change. It does not require you to abandon self and be stupid. It requires you to become whole. Have sense. Alignment is not rebellion. It is stewardship. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Hey, you come and die. We can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. Yes. But if you're feeling a burnout, please ask yourself, waiting to happen. What's going on? How am I feeling like this? It may not be that you're doing something, you're working hard too much. It might just be that you're doing something wrong, or you're not paying attention to yourself for too long. So this weekend, today's Friday, use this weekend. Ask your body, ask yourself, what kind of structure can I put in place so I don't have to feel this way? I don't want my Fridays to always have to be like this. You always have to feel like you are gonna die. Like, by the time it's Friday, you're feeling like, Just figure out what's making you feel that way. Figure out what's making you feel excessively exhausted, and use the weekends to fix it. Realign. Put up structures, systems in place to help you. Listen to your body. Go swimming. All you have to do. Because you must keep finding and actualizing. Yeah. But these are subtle ways people disappear inside their own goodness, inside capacity. Yeah. They become reliable, dependable. They become the one that never says no. You cannot say no because you don't want to be seen as incompetent. And slowly, they stop asking themselves what they actually have the capacity to carry. Not because they don't care, or because they don't feel permitted to care about themselves. In short, they don't give themselves permission to care about themselves. It shows up in the house, in the office, church, wherever. The person who is always available, the one who never complains, the one who is strong. Strength becomes their identity. And one day, they don't feel anything anymore. They feel empty, not because they stopped believing, but because they stopped listening. They just. Burnout is not a moral failure. It's a structural signal. It's put in place for a reason. It's there by design. It tells you that something in your life is demanding more than you can sustainably give. Not temporarily, but consistently. And no amount of prayer can permanently fix a structure that refuses to change. Ask yourself this very gingerly. What in my life am I calling obedience, for crying out loud? That is actually avoidance of certain boundary. What in my life am I using to destroy myself in the name of competence? Where am I still proving faithfulness instead of practicing alignment? You see, finding helps you name what is happening. Actualizing helps you respond responsibly. Faith and alignment are not opposites. Alignment is how faith becomes livable. You were not created to be a container for endless demand. You were created to be a person. I'll say it again. You were not created to be a container for endless demand in the name of capacity. You were created to be a person. And faith does not require your disappearance. It requires your presence. And sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is tell the truth about what you can carry and what you can no longer sustain. This is finding and actualizing. Finding and actualizing. Please